Hi and welcome to Help We're Graduates. I'm Matt.
I'm Jamie.
Welcome to episode 5.
Is it?
Which is crazy.
That is crazy.
Episode 5.
This is our 5th week.
5th week of sitting and recording. Today it is 32 degrees Celsius.
32.
So we are sat in the garden because it was just too hot inside.
Happy summer again.
But if you do hear like a plane, which I think is going over right now, or a neighbour in their garden, then we can't help that. We're not in a professional air-conditioned studio.
No, we're just chilling. We're just two friends chilling outside in the sunshine, chatting about things that we did and we're going to do, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully. So this episode, we are going to talk to your friend Kate.
Yes.
And we're going to talk all about...
university, and if it's worth it.
I forgot what I was going to say. I went to go and then... Yeah, like, is uni actually worth it? Because I can imagine there's a lot of people now who are going through the same like application process that we went through on what's it called? What's that website? UCAS, that's the one.
Yeah.
And people will be going through clearing once they get their results and realise that it probably didn't do as well as they thought they would.
Yeah.
So it'd be quite nice for people to sort of hear what we have to say about uni.
Yeah. Well, I think we touched upon it a little bit in the first couple of episodes, talking about, is uni worth it and things, but we just wanted to dedicate this episode to the whole conversation that I think a lot of people have these days, and that is like whether you should go to university or not, or whether you should do an apprenticeship or go straight into a job. I was just thinking that it's 18, you go into a job now, isn't it? You've got to be in education till you're 18, some kind of apprenticeship and things.
Yeah.
But and like whether people feel like they have to go to uni to do what they want to do.
Yeah, because I always thought I didn't think I'd had to go to uni, but I thought if I wanted to stand out from the crowd and all that, then going to uni would be the best thing. And actually from finishing uni and trying to get a job, I realised that actually they don't really care that much.
Yeah, you're actually even more in a crowd these days, because I'd say, I don't know for a true fact, but I think a lot of people I know have gone to uni, so I think most people do.
Yeah.
I think it's a sweeping statement, but I think a lot of people
most. And the people who don't generally don't really want to go into such a specialised thing. I feel like the people who don't go to uni either really know what they want to do or have no idea and think, well, I don't want to go to uni and get into debt and all that. I'm not going to lie, I looked at my student finance the other day because someone posted about it on social media, and it's a lot more than I thought it would be. And it turns out they actually add interest on top of your loan. So I think they've added 400 and something pounds on top of my loan already.
But it gets wiped after 30 years, don't it?
Yeah, it does.
So 29 years time.
It's
already been a year.
The thing is, like, it doesn't really matter, and it's like we're never gonna. We didn't see the money, did we?
No.
And
we just received the money.
We received it, and then the university received it. It was never ours in the first place. So I feel like it isn't really a massive thing. It's not like a student loan in America where it's like a private loan and you have to pay that back. Yeah. And university in America is a hell of a lot more expensive than over here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is weird to think I've got this like debt.
Yeah, and I think that is one thing that puts a lot of people off uni. I know when I was looking at going to uni, I was thinking, wow, is it really going to be worth that amount of money? I mean, $9,000 a year. I know when my cousin went to uni just over 10, probably about 10, 15 years ago now. He was paying $3,500 a year for the degree.
Crazy.
And then it went up, and that's when everyone did the protests and was like, tuition fees are too high and things. And people are still complaining against tuition fees being too high.
And now it's what, $9,250?
Yeah, $9,250 now. Yeah, it's gone up by another £250 a year, which is just crazy. But that's one thing that put me off the idea of going to uni originally. But I always had the idea that I wanted to go to uni, and I think a lot of it is to do with the school that you go to as well.
Yeah.
Because I know that when I went to Polesworth for like school, and then even when I went to Boa, it was a lot of like a lot of assemblies and a lot of people talking about uni. So you're sort of in this whole sort of idea about you're going to go on to this next step along with like everyone else.
Yeah.
And if you're going to branch out from that, I think it makes it different. I don't know.
I would say that my high school, so I went to Kingsbury. They weren't really pushing us to go and go to uni. They were pushing us to go and do A-levels or go to college.
Yeah.
And they were saying to us like, you can do either, and either is really good. And then when I went to your high school for sixth form, it was literally like assembly after assembly after assembly pushing us to go to uni, and it made me feel like if I don't go to uni, then I've failed,
Yeah.
and there was no point me doing my A levels, because the whole reason to do A levels is to go to university. And
Mhm.
it did really, like, it put pressure on me a little bit, and I think that's one of the reasons why I chose to do media, is because they were like, go to uni, do a degree, and I didn't know what else to do it in. So I thought, well, the only thing I'm actually getting decent grades in is media, so I'll just do that. And that was when
Yeah.
I found radio and all that.
Yeah. I mean, they were really helpful in the sense of like, that this is what it's this is how it's gonna help you, and this is what to do. But I do feel like, yeah, well, I agree with what you're saying. There's a lot of pressure. Obviously, when I went to BOA, that's a drama school for like 16 to 19-year-olds. It was like a lot of people from there were going to drama school,
Yeah.
and that was the big thing. It was like pushing. If you don't go to drama school, you're not going to be successful in this.
Mm.
But having gone to BOA and experienced a small taste of what drama school might be like, I decided against drama school being the option for me, and I wanted to go down more of like an academic route, and that's why I chose the degree that I chose, to sort of do a joint honours in the two with drama, and then like more of a management sort of, events management, other things like that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask, why did you go to uni then, if they were trying to push you to go to drama school? But I can
yeah,
understand that
yeah,
if you got a
Put me
taste
off.
for it and thought, nah.
it put me off basically. Yeah,
But would you, like, having done all this, and we've gone to uni, we've done our 3 years, we've got our degree, we've had a year of trying to find jobs,
that's crazy.
would you, if you could talk to your younger self, would you say definitely go to uni, or would you say maybe think of another option, like an apprenticeship or a...
I think for me, 110%, I'd say go to uni.
Yeah.
I might say, I mean, I don't have any regrets, I'm not going to lie, but I might say just go in 2015 when I was meant to go, but I had the gap year.
Yeah.
I might just say, just go, just get it done with, like, because then I would have come out being 21, which means now I would have had this year and I'd be 22, do you know what I mean? But instead I'm 23, and it's always that sort of like age thing, and I think that's what a lot of people worry about as well, when if they've missed the boat to go when they're like sort of 18, 19, people feel like, oh, they don't want to go to uni and be stuck with loads of 18, 19-year-olds in a class, because you are different. So, I mean, like, my brother's 18 and I'm so different to my brother in that, like, in every way, just because it's like a completely different generation. There's only 5 years between us, but I do feel like the way that they are is so different to us, because they've grew up differently, I suppose. I mean, I remember like a time before technology, and not like granddad, but like my phone and
Gas
stuff.
lamps and
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
My phone, like, I remember having like a flip phone and stuff, but I think like for my brother's case, ever since he was like probably 13, 12, he was having like an iPhone,
Yeah.
and it's like just the completely, even though like 5 years younger, it's just completely different, and I understand why a lot of people don't want to go to uni and be a bit older. See, that's the only thing I'd probably tell myself, is I'd be like, probably just go and get it done. But then if I did that, I wouldn't have met the people that I've met.
Exactly.
And because I waited the year, and that's why. So I don't regret anything.
But then you might have other friends. So
that'd be better actually.
I hope they're not listening. I do think, yeah, I do agree with you. Like, definitely going to uni was so fun, and it was a really good experience. I learned so much. Like, we wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. I was saying it to my mum yesterday. We wouldn't be doing it right now if I didn't go to uni, because I wouldn't have the technical skills
Yeah.
that you need to like do a podcast. I'm pretty sure I can hear thunder in the distance.
No, we're
It's
playing.
quite exciting.
Oh, love a good storm.
Yeah, there was a good one last night as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Just checking my little app to see if there's any lightning. There isn't lightning. It must have been a plane. I was lying.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, but do you know what I'm saying about leaving uni at 22 and now being 23? Do you feel like a little bit like, I don't know, I feel like I wish I would have just gone to uni when I was 18 instead of 19. I know it's only a year, but that year now.
No.
No.
I think up to a certain point, even now, I'd say potentially, if you're thinking about going to uni and you're 23, like most of your life hasn't happened yet.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah. And you'll finish when you're 26. So it's only 3 years of your life. It's not a massive amount of time. So I would say that, if you're thinking of going. But then also, like, if you've lived for a bit and you're older and you're thinking of going as a mature student, then do that as well. Like, there's nothing stopping you. And
Yeah.
there is a bit of a difference. But I always remember really clearly, you'd have the young people doing their sat in the lecture in like one part of the room, because we had really small lectures, and then the mature students just sit on the other half of the room, and they would only pipe up when they were given an answer, whereas we would chat and like talk to the lecturer. I always
Yeah.
felt there was a big difference between like the young people who've come straight from school and the older people who've gone back to uni. I don't know if you
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
have any mature people in your lectures?
Yeah, a couple. I mean, we had quite a few international students as well, which was nice. And that's one thing I was gonna say is like going to uni, you got to mix with like loads of different people, different ages, different, you know,
Backgrounds.
backgrounds coming from like, you know, some I've got some friends from America now, friends from Sweden, you know,
Yeah.
that were on my degree, which is crazy. But also, I think anyone that's thinking about going to uni, it's worth noting that in a lot of cases, probably not all, because I haven't experienced every single degree in the country. But what I will say is that I think a lot of people, they're worried that they're going to go and it's going to be like a sort of teacher-student situation again. But I've got to say that a lot of my lecturers they were like friends in a way. Like, you
Yeah.
know, they actually want you to succeed, and it's not like it's the authority thing of I'm going to sit here, I'm the teacher, you're going to sit there, I'm going to lecture you, and then you're going to listen. It's like a sort of like, it's a back and forth. Obviously, you've got to have like levels of respect and things. You're
Yeah,
not
of
going to like be
course.
talking throughout the lecture and things. I get that. But like, it's just like a sort of like, it's more of like a friendship, more relaxed. You're obviously in your own clothes. If you don't decide to go to uni, I mean, the uni might send you an email and things like being like, wow, you know, you should really turn up to your uni. But at the end of the day, you're paying for it. If you don't want to turn up, that's up to you. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a guy who lived with my mate Elliot, and I don't remember him ever going to uni. He studied law, and I don't think he ever went. And his sleep schedule was so messed up. He'd like go to bed in the morning and get up on the night.
Mm.
Really, yeah,
I think everyone knows someone like that. I don't know,
yeah,
uni. Everyone's like got that sort of like ghost as well. I mean, I
yeah,
know in first year I had a couple of ghosts, and then in the final year I had this random because we moved in like I think there was 3 or 4 of us that moved in, and then there was this random guy that moved in as well because it was like a 5 bedroom thing,
yeah.
and he just filled that extra bedroom. We never saw him. It's
No.
crazy. You never see these people, and it's just they live there. But you
Mm,
see him on like an odd occasion, but it's like, whoa, are you still here?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would say that uni just allows you to sort of find who you are as a person because you're away from home.
Oh,
If you live away from home, and you can kind of just do whatever you want. You eat
yeah.
whatever. I notice like some people get really skinny at uni, some people get really fat at uni, some people stay the same. Some people find that they really want like they love doing sports and then join loads of sports societies and end up that's their uni experience. And other people realise that they like sitting in their room and doing nothing all day. And yeah, I do feel like uni does
Which one
help
were
you
you?
just
Sports or
I did join the hockey society, and I
I
did
didn't
that
know
for a month or so, and then I hurt my wrist, and so I had to stop.
that. Aw.
I know, but then I also did enjoy sitting and watching films. And we used to, because I had a really good group of friends at uni, so we used to go for like movie nights around each other's flats and stuff, especially in first year.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there with what I was going to say next, and that is, I think a lot of your uni experience depends on the people that you actually are on your course with, slash people that you're living with, you know, things like that. I think they can make or break a uni experience. I know I've touched on before talking about how in first year I didn't like the fact that I didn't really get on with a lot of the people
Hmm.
in my house. Now it's just because we were all different personalities, but it's still part of an experience of sort of growing on your own and like learning to cook for yourself. So like it just made me learn so much and like grow as like a person, like into like a sort of adult now, which I know is sort of on hiatus again because like, you know, I'm still with mum and dad, so they can do a lot of the stuff like the washing and things. But I know I can do it if I have to.
Yeah.
Like they're on holiday this week, and I've been trying to work the washing machine, which is nice.
Did it work?
No,
Did you get? Oh, oh, okay.
I'm leaving it for a bit.
Oh,
I'm just telling my brother to start to use the same towel because we're running out of towels.
that's funny. Speaking of friends we made at uni, shall we talk to
Yeah,
Kate
let's
now?
talk to Kate. Yeah.
So we're joined now by Kate. Hi, Kate.
Hello.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm grand. Are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Apparently you're sat eating a McFlurry in your underwear.
I am, yeah. In the dark, actually. It's really hot outside, but I'm sat in the dark.
Don't blame you, Kate. It's a
Living at
day.
large,
It's a
what can I
day for
say?
it.
It is a day for it. I mean, it's so hot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got you here, Kate. Just to elaborate on what we were talking, so everyone else can listen to someone else talking instead of us for a bit, basically. And yeah, we're talking about is university worth it? So what was your experiences with like going to uni? Like, why did you decide to go? That's what we wanted to ask.
I think, for me anyway, I basically went to uni to leave home, because I think actually if I didn't go to uni, I'd still be living in the middle of White Lackington in Somerset, really, and like there wouldn't be an excuse for me to leave. And I think university for me anyway kind of was that really nice springboard, I suppose. And I guess because the course I did, so I did arts and festivals management, and I was really lucky in the sense that that there wasn't ever any pressure from anybody for me to do anything other than what I wanted. I know a lot of people, like, their parents want them to do like law or accounting, but I never had that. Like, my mum was just like, do whatever makes you feel buzzing. So that's basically what I did. um, and yeah, and I knew that I wanted to be far away from home. I didn't even know Leicester. Well, I knew Leicester existed, but I'd never been. Like, I didn't know anything about it before I came, and I literally and we got the train up, and then we had to stay in the Premier Inn for my interview. And the only reason we even turned up was because I wanted to get more offers than my sister. But yeah, and then we went, and then the interview, I thought it went rubbish, and then I was sat in the campus centre, and my mum went to go and get a drink, and she came back and she was like, oh, they do homemade white chocolate and raspberry muffins. And I looked at her and I said, Mum, I think I'd like to go somewhere that does white chocolate and raspberry muffins. And that's pretty much why we decided that I'd go here. And also because arts and festivals management, like, there's not that many like courses of that in the country, and it's the oldest. So DMU's the oldest, so it's been going for like 40 years or something obscene. So yeah, but I think also for like I wouldn't say I was sheltered at home, but in terms of where I come from anyway, there are a lot of people that never leave. Do you know what I mean? You know, there's people that like that little town's their whole life,
Yeah.
and everyone's a bit of a busybody, and there's kind of no contrast. And so Leicester to me was just really exciting because I knew that I wasn't cut out for London, because where I live doesn't even have pavements or street lights. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like London would have been a bit too much of a jump. So I thought Leicester was like a happy medium. But yeah, and I think actually for me, when I think about what I've gained at university, a lot of it is obviously, except for like friends, like learning how to like look after myself independently, a lot of it is just like, I think, that general worldliness. I've become so much more political. I've become such an activist, and I think I'd never. Do you know what I mean? Like, I saw my first black person when I was 13. Like, when in Somerset would I have become like the activist I am, I guess? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like Leicester's so diverse and multicultural and that. So I think, to be fair, that's probably my biggest takeaway. But I think it depends what you go to uni for, because I think a lot of people go to uni because
The social
that's
life.
just, they think, yeah. So I think either people go because they want to get paid to go to freshers, which is like a take on it, and then also I think a lot of people go because their parents just want to say their kids are at uni, and a lot of people go just to say they went. And I think actually there's so many. I genuinely believe that uni is not for everybody, and I really believe that. Like, I think some unis try and be like, we're for everybody. I don't think it is. Like, I just don't think it's the sort of thing that suits everyone, and that's fine.
I'd agree
But I
with
think that
that.
a lot of people,
Yeah.
yeah, because I think that a lot of people go to uni because, like, so if you think about it, the statistics at the moment is that 50% of 18-year-olds go to university. 50%, that is so many. Like, when my mum went to university in the 70s, she got paid to go to university because it was less than 5% that went. So
Really?
I think, because, yeah, so, and she did a year abroad in Chicago, and they paid for her to fly bloody Concorde and that. So, yeah, so it was just a whole other life, really. But I think now there's a sense that it's almost like a rite of passage, I guess. It's almost like everyone goes because your friends go, and because nobody wants to be the friend that was left behind.
Yeah.
I mean, does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like, I don't think
Because
anybody wants to be.
I would say that uni is that kind of thing where you get to go away from home. You sort of get paid. You don't get paid to do it, but the government gives you your loan and stuff. So you're kind of given the money to go and live in this other place, and it kind of allows you. We were saying earlier, doesn't it? Sort of allows you to find who you are.
hmm And we were also saying that I think like what you were saying,
Yeah.
Kate. If your friends are all going, and we went to sort of schools that were basically sort of not forcing it upon us, but also forcing it upon us to go to university and be like, if you don't go to university, then you're not going to be able to do this. Go get a degree, basically. Was that something that you had at your school? Because obviously you come from quite a remote area. Was
Yeah, so
they? Go
I
on.
think just because where I live, there's no opportunities. Like, unless you want to go into agriculture, there just isn't. Do you know what I mean? My nearest city's like an hour and a half away, so I just don't. Yes, there was kind of that sense of going to uni, but also I think that I don't know. I guess it was just like because the government do give you like a loan, and I totally understand that's so different for everybody. But it is just like the little stepping stone that you need. Because also, I don't know about you guys, but do you ever look back at like the people that you were friends with in school, and you think, oh my God, we were just friends because we grew up together and because we were forced to spend every day in the same classroom together. Like I think of some of the friends that I was friends with, and if I met them now, we'd be miles apart. Whereas I think at uni, you kind of find your people more than I would have normally, because if I
Yeah,
didn't go to uni, I would have got a job, and like you know when you make friends that are like like colleagues that are friends, but not necessarily your kind of people. Whereas I think I never, even for example, like I have a really messy family situation, and I've never met anybody that could relate to that until I came to uni, and actually I found out that everyone's was. Do you know what I mean? And like I'd
Yeah.
never kind of experienced that before. I'd never met anybody that had gone through what I had.
So
So I think that
you meet in like a diverse
those
group
kind
of
of
people,
niches.
basically. Yeah, it's not everyone from the same area. We touched on before, we like the fact that when you go to uni, like a lot of people are the same age as you, so like it sort of feels like you're the adults of like your own little clique. But also, I was saying that it's also nice that there's quite a few people on our course, Kate, that were a bit older, and also obviously we've met like people from America, from Sweden. So you're just meeting people from like all different walks of life and hearing like stories, and it's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that
And
part.
also I think that another advantage that I think people don't talk about at uni is like if you think about our group of friends at university and where we all live, it pretty much means that most places in the country you've got somewhere to stay. Do you know what I mean? In the sense of like I'd go to any city and I guarantee I know somebody there, or somebody could give me a good like restaurant like recommendation, and even stuff like that. It's just like knowing people from different places. And also because I think that that's the good thing about our course is there were so many mature students, and actually it's never too late to go to university. And also because like we're all in the same debt, so whether you've had a whole life before me, whether you've had loads of kids, do you know what I mean? Like we're all we've all got to pay it back somehow. So
yeah. Well,
yeah,
after 30 years, but yeah. So, in terms
yeah,
of
yeah,
you did the same course as Jamie, didn't you? So that's how you know Jamie. In terms
yeah,
of
yeah,
jobs, what's sort of happened after because you graduated last year, didn't you? So
yeah.
what's kind of happened in terms of jobs now since you've graduated? Are you in the same boat as me and Jamie where we haven't really got anything, or are you doing quite well?
So my situation's kind of unique in the sense that when I was in third year, because I was so involved in the student movement and I was a course rep and I ran societies and I was so involved. So I ran for um like an officer position. Do you know what I mean? So like you know how you have like president and vice president, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So they introduced some new roles, and so I went for one of them. I went for union development, and so did my housemate and obviously my best friend and yeah, Laura. Um, and we both got them. And I remember, like then, just feeling like life was set, and everyone was talking about like grad jobs and post-uni depression. And I remember just thinking like, like it sounds awful, but I remember thinking like, not that I'm above it, but I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that none of that happened to me, none of that happened to me. And so I went into this job, and then I think in general with officers, I've got to be careful what I say really, but I think in general with officer jobs, you go in it to make change for students, and then you spend a lot of your time on disciplinary panels, and I mean, actually, what you're paid to do isn't what you want to do because you're paid to do it and because you were voted in with students. So I found it really hard to balance because you've got so many hats. Do you know what I mean? So you're a trustee, you're representing students, you're like an employee, so you've got actual jobs to do, and then you've got campaigns to run, and you've got to be out talking to students all the time. So I couldn't balance it, and then basically, I just couldn't hack it anymore. And so my post-uni depression was delayed because I got a bit cocky and I thought it wouldn't happen to me, and also because
Because you
I've
had,
always had a plan. Do
yeah,
you
because you
know
had
what I mean? Like I've always had a next step.
a job lined up straight away, didn't you? So it's sort of like you skipped the post uni
Yeah,
depression.
like literally, I gave him my dissertation, went on a holiday for 6 weeks, came back. First day back, I started training in the job, and so because I'm so obsessed with having a plan, I just didn't think it would happen to me. Like I hear it about other people, but I remember thinking like, well, like I've got a job, and then I remember thinking, and from this job I'll make so many contacts for another job, and basically I left the job just before Christmas in pretty shoddy circumstances, and I just had an absolute breakdown. I was put on antidepressants in the January. I was unemployed over Christmas, and I remember genuinely then just feeling so miserable because I think especially no one talks about the fact that your whole life, everything's planned for you. Do you know what I mean? So school, so everyone knows that. So I was like common entrance at 13, and then GCSEs at 16, like A levels at 18, and then I was like, so but like, do you know what I mean? Literally, I was like, hello world, and the world was like, go away,
Yeah.
and so I was a bit like, right, and then I had to go to square one, and I had to find a rubbish job that I wouldn't like, that paid the bills, because that's what you've got to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the saddest bit of all, is when you're so passionate about your degree and you're so passionate about kind of what you learn at university, and through no fault of anyone's really, we've all just got to pay the bills. And I think that's, to me, that was really sad. And like, especially because where I went to work, because I had a few jobs in between, just like waitressing, like cafe jobs, like bar, anything that'll have me really. And I remember just feeling like that was such a decline, because I went from being, do you know what I mean, like executive officers, we were head of the student union, do you know what I mean, we were leading the student movement, like I remember just feeling on top of the world, and like I got a first, and I did all this stuff, and then I remember going to work with people that had worked there since they were 16 and had so much more money than me, and
Because I didn't do the
just
uni
seemed happier
thing.
than me. And I remember thinking, like, how have I got this so wrong? Like, how, and then I think also there's a sense of unfairness, and I think in general that's kind of a really grey area with university, in the sense that obviously if you go to university, it doesn't make you a better person than somebody that didn't go to university at all.
No.
But I think people do, and I think also no one talks about it, but like, I'll admit it, me as a person, I will be slightly irritated if I don't get a job that I didn't need a degree to do. Does that make sense? Because like the time, the effort, like the money, like I know I gained so much else from university except the piece of paper, but I think people don't admit that. Like yes, I went to university so I could get a better paid job. Like, and I think that there's no shame in saying that, and that's not belittling anyone that didn't go to university, and that's not saying that people that didn't go to university aren't as ambitious or aren't entitled to those jobs, because of course they 100% are. But I think that for me, I would like a job that needs a degree, because because even though in my head I've got all of this, I know I've learnt stuff in me as a person, I've grown, but like on paper I put in a shift. Do you know what I mean? Like we all did, and I'm not saying that people that didn't go to university didn't do that, but like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
and I think loads of people are really embarrassed about saying that, but like that's just how I feel.
That's fair enough to admit that, because I feel like that is something that people do overlook. They, you went to uni because you want a post-uni job that you require a degree to get. So I think you've hit the nail on the head perfectly there. And it's
But I think also it depends what like industry you went into. I mean, 'cause obviously if you went into do law or accounting, then of course you need a degree. But I think for arts-based courses, it's kind of more of like a woolly area. But like mainly just in terms of like the placements and like the volunteering opportunities, I think for me really bulked out my CV anyway. So
yeah, I think for me, uni helped with I think that people don't touch on a lot, is it helped with speech and things, I suppose. That didn't help with my little mumble then. But like with essay writing and things like that, like, you do learn how to communicate in like a certain way, and I don't know, like the
also
academic
sort of like finding sources and bulk, just the general things which you would learn in school, you sort of learn extra at uni, don't you? Because you do have to write a lot. You have to find sources, you have to talk to people if you want placements and things like that.
Yeah.
So it really does help you.
Applications, personal statements, gathering loads of information basically, and taking from that information what you want to take from it, and then putting it into a bibliography, that sort of stuff. So essay writing, and then also a big thing for me, which you guys both know, is that the social of uni was just exactly what I wanted it to be in that sense. Because we've made some really good friends. But like you said, Kate, you wouldn't have met these people if it hadn't have been for university. So that's why for me, like, university was definitely a must, and I don't regret anything that's come out of it. Even if finding a job at the moment is a bit tricky, avid COVID and things like that. I was just going to say, you're doing a master's in September, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm doing a master's in business management in the creative industries, but if I'm honest, a lot of that was because I know we're going through a massive recession after this. So I basically thought, you can't go wrong with just being more educated. I'm already in debt. Might as well pile it on, and especially because even though lectures and stuff are all online, it doesn't make any odds to me, because I'm going to the same university, I know enough people, I'm not relearning a new campus. So actually, and the statistics show actually that this year, because obviously 18-year-olds, a lot of them are deferring and just taking a gap year, because obviously why wouldn't you? Because you don't have that like the same uni experience. But actually, for mature students, people that fancy a career change, or people that are parents or whatever, like the statistics have like skyrocketed for them to come to uni, because obviously, like, why wouldn't you? You haven't, like, we're in a pandemic, literally you've got nothing to lose. So I guess that's kind of encouraging. But I definitely agree with what you were saying about how university just makes you a bit more articulate and intellectual. But I think a lot of that's to do with like how they test you, because I remember that on my course anyway, and like Jamie, I'm sure you remember, like I remember the way they used to assess us was literally like 10 different ways, like pitches, business plans, reports, essays. So I think in general, whereas in school it's very much like everyone's got to do it the same way, everyone's got to learn the same. And actually in school, I remember I felt really stupid, and at uni I've started to realise like my own ability, which I think at school I never really knew before, but that's just me.
So overall, just to finish, Kate, would you say that uni is worth it or not for you personally?
Oh, for me, 100%. Yeah, definitely. I'll do the whole thing again. Maybe not for the same debt, but yeah, definitely.
Okay. Thanks, Kate, for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
That's okay. Thanks for having me.
No, it's good. It's really nice to have other people's opinions, because we keep saying we're just two people and we've had quite similar experiences. So to hear what you have to say is really nice, because it shows that it isn't just us that's going through this. Okay, thank you very much for coming on, and stay safe during the whole coronavirus thing.
Thank you. You too.
See you soon, Kate.
Bye.
Bye. Right then, that was Kate. Really interesting stuff that she was talking about then.
Yeah, and she actually did have physical post-uni depression, because when we talk about it, we just talk about the blues, don't we?
Yeah.
But she was actually depressed after uni, which is quite a scary thing, that it can cause someone to feel like that.
Yeah. So I think she had everything mapped out, and it all just sort of came crashing. And also, I really like the point that she makes about in life, you've sort of got this ladder, and you're doing your GCSEs and your A levels and your degree, and then it's sort of like, well, what now? Because it's not as easy to get onto the next step, I think, after uni, and a lot of people think it is. But having said all that, I think we all agree that 110%. University was the way forward for us. It might not be for you, but it was for us.
And it isn't a bad thing if you don't want to go to university. If you want to go and do an apprenticeship. I've been looking at apprenticeships recently, I'm not going to lie.
Could do both. Do uni, then do an apprenticeship.
Yeah, or you could do an apprenticeship and then think, I actually want to go to uni, or do a degree apprenticeship. Like, there's so many different things that you could do, and there isn't a right or a wrong way to do it. So don't think that just because maybe you're thinking, I don't want to go to university, that isn't a bad thing. Just do what you want to do.
And if you listen to this podcast, then you must be like already on some kind of ladder to thinking about your future anyway. So you're in a lot better position than a lot of people, and I think that's important to know, because I know a lot of people just aren't that bothered about the next step and things. So for you to actually be thinking about it, well done.
Yeah.
That's a bit of positivity for you to end this podcast with.
Yeah, uni is, for me, I just want to wrap by saying, like, it was really good. I really enjoyed uni. I wouldn't change it.
No, I wouldn't change the social, I wouldn't change the degree, I wouldn't change the place. Highly recommend, guys, but like we said, if it's not for you, it's not for you. I think you'll find that answer with what you want to do. But also, it's okay to change your career path after uni, because, you're only young.
Exactly.
We're only young.
Yeah. Hopefully, next week we'll be talking about the opposite side, as like, uni, and why people didn't want to go to uni. We're hoping to get some of our friends on who didn't go to university. That would be quite nice. And yeah, let's wrap it here, shall we?
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks. 5 episodes in, so we can't wait to hear you on the next. Can't wait for you to hear us on the next episode, I should say. Not hear you. But we do like to hear your thoughts, though. So carry on messaging us on our socials and let us know what you think, and any ideas. If people want to come on the show, if you've got something to say, honestly, we appreciate it so much. We've had so many different messages. Shout out to my cousin Sophie, who's working with the NHS at the moment. She's a recent graduate. She had her graduation last week on Zoom, so hopefully get her on the show in a couple of shows' time to talk about her experiences. So yeah, stay tuned, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, so follow us on Instagram at HelpWeAreGraduates, and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, YouTube. Just search for us. I'm sure we'll come up somewhere.
Yeah, and the merch is coming soon.
Yeah. All right, so thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. Bye.